Welcome back to Cookie Cutter to Custom. This video is part 2 of the series of New Life to Old Things. And the first thing I want to show you is an old magazine rack that I simply put in a cupboard. That's all I did. I put it in there and I use it to store a lot of our bakeware. It makes it a lot easier to get things in and out of the cabinet having this little rack. Now, the next item I'm pretty excited about. It's one of the first pieces that I really gave it a whole new life. This was a chest or a hutch that belonged to a neighbor of mine's great-grandmother. And it took a lot of love and work, but it really came out spectacular. Now, this piece, I needed to replace the entire back, repair the feet, and really sand it down, give it a great coating in primer, and then I used a shell color metallic paint, and it was my first time with metallic paint, and I will tell you it comes out very beautiful, but you do need to do quite a few layers because metallic paints, especially light colored ones, tend to be quite sheer. The other thing I did was, instead of putting glass back in the doors, I simply got some sheet metal that I cut up to fit inside and used the color of paint on the walls, which is peppercorn, to paint the steel so that it would really look wonderful with that white lattice in front of it. And I know you can't see it in the picture, but I am using this piece to store gift wrap, and it's just worked out perfectly. Now, this next clip, you can see how it looks in our hallway from a little bit of a distance. I call this our tuxedo entrance because of the color scheme, and you also get a good glimpse at how I refinished the hardware. Now, these were kind of a brass look, an antique brass, that I painted a few layers of different colors and then just glued on a pretty crystal that I had left over from a prior project just to give it a little shine. Now, due to some unforeseen circumstances, I did have to have a couple of my doors, my cabinet doors in my kitchen replaced. And in every instance, I did ask to keep the door that they took off to figure out a different way to use it. And in this case, I simply got this Krylon dry erase spray to put on the cabinet door, and as you can see here, I hung it up on the wall after spraying the center part of the door and created a dry erase board for our family. Now you can see, even though it was a clear dry erase paint that I sprayed on, it did yellow the door a bit, which I think is just fine. I will recommend, if you try something like this, that you make sure that you use a little bit thicker of a pen to write on the dry erase board, because I feel like it's a little easier to erase, because you have to remember you're spraying on a dry erase finish. It's not exactly a dry erase board, but it works beautifully. Now, I did have another cabinet door that needed to get replaced, and this was a little bit longer of a door, and I thought it would make just a great little tray or shelf for over the bathtub in the master bathroom. And it just looks so polished, and all it is a spare door that my husband put some handles on, and it really comes in handy. Now, in our neighborhood, we have a Facebook page, and on that page, a lot of our neighbors will buy and sell items. And one of my neighbors was offering up this wicker furniture set for a great price, so I picked it up. Now, the first thing I did was give it a good power washing. As you can see here, it really needed it, and it made a huge difference already just getting the nice power wash. So again, great to have a power washer on hand. Now, after that, I picked up at Lowe's some spray paint and spray painted the furniture, and I think it came out great. It looked brand new. I only had to do a few minor repairs before I painted it, but I think it just came out great. You will notice too that there are some pillows and cushions, and I picked those up at Lowe's as well, but it was more middle of the summer, so they were on sale. Now, you just need to make sure when you buy paint for a project like this, especially if it's spray paint, you want to make sure it's designed for something that's plastic that can be outside. Well, thank you for joining me for part 2 of New Life to Old Things. This is Laura, and I would be so honored if you would subscribe to this channel and share with others that there is a place for you to go to take a look at some real life projects to make your home go from cookie cutter to custom.